Freelance journalist David Axe spent several weeks in Iraq earlier this year, including a visit to a U.S. base in Ramadi. While there, he spoke with a reporter for Stars and Stripes, a U.S. military newspaper.
Stars and Stripes is a newspaper primarily for the U.S. service person and their families. It's got about, I think, 50,000 circulation in Iraq.
So what's your beat in the Stars and Stripes organization?
Basically, I just embed with various units and just report, what I see for about 2.5 month stretches, and take a break of a few weeks, and then just come back and hook up with some other units.
Is that strictly in Iraq?
It's Iraq and Afghanistan. I haven't been to Afghanistan yet.
Now, can you tell me what embedding means?
Embedding means, as a journalist, it's kind of like in the civilian world of going on a ride-along with the police. Basically, you go to a unit and you live with the soldiers for a specific period of time. It could be a few days, it could be a month or more, and you go out on missions with them, operations, or just kind of hang out at their base and talk with the soldiers about what they're doing and what life is like for them.
So how many times have you embedded for the Stars and Stripes?
I've embedded with the Stars and Stripes now. This is I've got a 13-month contract with Stars and Stripes, and this is my first tour for Stripes in Iraq. So I've embedded with about I've worked with 5 different units over the last 2.5 months.
Now, before Stars and Stripes, who did you work for?
I worked for the Los Angeles Times.
Were you also doing foreign correspondence for them?
I worked for the paper's Metro desk, but would be on loan to the foreign desk. So I worked half the time in the LA Times Baghdad office in their bureau, and half the time embedded, working for the Times.
So tell us a little bit about your itinerary on this embed. How long have you been here, and who have you embedded with?
Well, right now we're in Camp Ramadi in western Iraq, and I've been here a month, and I've embedded with three different units since I've been here. 2 engineer units and another National Guard unit that has a number of different subordinate units. And working with the engineers, I've written stories about their different projects. One of the units, the 54th Engineering Battalion out of Bamberg, Germany, does a lot of work clearing routes in downtown Ramadi of roadside explosives. So I went out with them a few times in their specialized vehicles to sort of dig up and defuse IEDs, as they call them. Just recently I moved to another unit, the 46th Engineering Battalion, and did stories on, they were building a road way out west to a very small base, and also they were helping to construct an Iraqi army base out west, and went and spent about a couple weeks out in these 2 locations talking with soldiers and trying to get photographs of what they're doing.
So is your work dangerous?
It's more dangerous than working on the city desk. It's not as dangerous as people would believe, as I tell my parents. For the most part, it's kind of quiet. The way things work, the strange thing that is difficult to get across to people is you'll go through periods of time for a week or more, maybe a month, where things are very quiet, and you settle into kind of a routine, and you're having fun joking around with people, and then something horrible will happen. In Ramadi, I think I was here for a couple weeks, and things were pretty quiet, and then they had a suicide bombing at an Iraqi army recruiting drive, which was at a factory just on the other side of here, that killed several dozen people and injured a lot more, and that sort of it killed a couple U.S. service people, and that sort of woke people up in the camp for a while to the war, and then things quieted down, and then they've sort of heated up again recently after the election results were released.
So how do the dangers shape your work? Do you find that it's impossible to cover certain subjects?
Well, the dangers of the job have shaped coverage for me a lot. I mean, it's one of the reasons that I'm working for Stars and Stripes now. When I worked for the Los Angeles Times, I spent half the time working in the bureau, where about a year and a half ago, you could go out in the city with a translator and a driver and cover say a suicide bombing or some political event that was outside of the green zone. But after a year or so, the environment got really dangerous, and it got to the point where the drivers and the translators specifically were very uneasy and just didn't want to take me outside anymore, because I'm obviously Western, and I was forced to essentially do a lot of reporting through proxy, through our stringers and interpreters, which is very, very difficult. You know, you want to be able to see and talk to people directly. So I made the switch to Stars and Stripes, where all the reporting is primarily, all the reporting is through embeds with the military. And while I'm not interacting as much sort of outside of the military sphere, it's all firsthand for me. I mean, I can still report on exactly what I see and talk to people directly about you know, what's going on in their experiences.
So a lot of people worry that embedding